I got Emily pregnant. Divorce me. Here are the divorce papers. I'm quitting caregiving. Mike made this shocking statement to me, the one solely responsible for looking after my MIL. But I didn't flinch at his words. Instead, I obediently handed him the divorce papers I had prepared. What? You need to keep caregiving. No way. Because Emily. Mike was bewildered by my calm response. I then revealed Emily's secret to him. My name is Nancy. I've been married to my husband, Mike, for 5 years. I'm currently considering divorcing him. The catalyst for this thought was when Mike started taking his phone into the bathroom. Originally, he was indifferent to messages, but lately, he's been glued to his phone. He even places it on the table during meals and takes it with him discreetly when he leaves his seat. His sudden interest in phone, which he previously had no interest in game and app, raised my suspicions. In the early days of our marriage, there was no hint of infidelity. He was so serious during our courtship that I thought he'd never cheat. I never imagined I'd be so doubtful now. Another reason I married him was that his workplace was almost entirely male. If he worked with women, I might have suspected infidelity. But the only women in his office were older secretaries, mostly in their late 50s. It seemed unlikely that Mike would be interested in them. If anyone, it would be my sister, Emily. When I was in elementary school, my mother remarried, and we started living with Emily. She was my stepfather's child, and we've always been at odds. Emily, with her queenly demeanor, constantly belittled and ordered me around. I often rebelled, leading to a tense household. But she was a master manipulator, charming men with ease. My stepfather never questioned her, and my mother adored him, leaving me without an ally. Emily would do anything to make herself look good, even if it meant treating me like a doormat. I, who tried to empathize with others' pain, was fed up with her tyranny. Emily must be leaning on you because she's lonely without siblings. Forgive her. She'll recognize your kindness someday. My mother always told me to endure when I complained about Emily. She adored my stepfather, blinding herself to everything else. He took advantage of this, having affairs with multiple women. Working as a sales rep for an IT company, he was often away on business trips, rarely home. My mother never noticed his infidelity, believing he loved her unconditionally. I started suspecting my stepfather when I was in upper elementary school. Dad started using his phone constantly, even during meals, never letting it out of his sight. It was too late for a work call, and his expression was unsettling when he received a message. He would always check his phone away from Mom's eyes and respond with a smirk. He never acted this way before, but lately, he didn't even try to hide it. Dad probably knew Mom was infatuated with him. Curious, I peeked at Dad's phone and saw a string of messages arranging secret meetings and nighttime rendezvous with women I didn't know. Seeing this, I felt deep contempt for Dad. I was consumed with anger, unable to forgive him for manipulating Mom's feelings. Your mother is a fool. Someone like Dad wouldn't settle for a woman like Mom. Emily noticed Dad's behavior. She knew why Dad married Mom and made this shocking statement to me. Dad married your mom because he wanted a convenient woman. She's good at cooking and housekeeping. For Dad, who doesn't need money, it's perfect. She takes care of the kids and frees up his time. It's not just 2 birds with 1 stone, it's 3. That's all she's worth to him. Emily's mocking words made me furious. Mom respected Dad and worked hard at cooking to win his favor. I supported Mom, wanting her to be happy. But Dad and Emily trampled and toyed with her feelings. I couldn't forgive them. I told Mom about it, but she was probably brainwashed by Dad. She didn't listen to me at all. Instead, she yelled at me, saying it was terrible to speak about Dad that way. After that, I stopped trying to convince Mom. I felt there was no one in this house who truly saw me. I had no place here. My life's turning point came when I entered high school. A close friend mentioned going to high school in New York. They planned to move there and find a job. The moment I heard this, I decided to move to New York too. I left home, moving into a dorm and starting a part-time job. That's where I met Mike. Mike was excellent at communication and very popular at work. He was good at his job, liked by everyone, and a natural leader. His occasional clumsiness made him endearing to the older women at work. Our friendship deepened during a workplace year-end party. Sitting next to each other, we discovered we liked the same band. We hit it off and started hanging out privately. Gradually, our relationship grew, and we naturally started dating. We got married on my 25th birthday. We lived happily together. Until the day Emily visited us. Long time no see. I've moved here too, so I came to see you. Emily had left home and moved to New York, just like me. I was shocked by Emily's unexpected move. Why are you here, Emily? Weren't you working back home? The pay wasn't great back home, and I always dreamed of city life. So I decided to move here. That's a lie. Emily wouldn't move just for that reason. There must be another motive. Though suspicious, I couldn't figure out her true intention, and time passed. Hi. I came to visit again today. Since Emily moved to New York 5 years ago, she has been hanging around our house constantly. The reason was Mike. Emily started flirting with Mike around this time. Mike, who works for a construction company, has weekends off, and Emily visits us every weekend. Since she works for one of Mike's company's subcontractors, she knows his days off. She used the excuse of not having friends in New York to come to our house. Emily, how are you doing? Here again today? Oh, Mike. Yes, I came again today. Emily said playfully as she quickly sidled up next to Mike. She naturally took the spot beside him, giving me a triumphant smile. That smile made my anger rise, but Mike made it worse. Come over any time. It's lonely with just Nancy and me. We're happy to see you. Mike, clearly pleased, grinned as he looked at Emily's breasts rather than her face. Emily noticed his gaze and leaned in closer, wrapping her arm around his. How many times have I witnessed this scene? Even if I tried to stop them, saying this isn't a cabaret club, they wouldn't listen. Are you in menopause or something? You get so upset when Emily comes over. Stop that. You're making her feel bad. Mike, you're so kind. I might fall for you. But don't worry. Nancy is probably just jealous seeing you treat me well. We're not like that, though. Agreeing with her words, they exchanged glances. I couldn't believe what Emily said. She always wanted to take everything that was mine. She used to cause a big fuss and trouble our parents just to get a new toy. Even in middle school, if a friend got close to me, she would get jealous and drive them away. Emily had a habit of feeling inferior and trying to take what I had. Now, she came to our house every weekend. It filled me with anxiety. Around this time, Mike started carrying his phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. I had a gut feeling he was cheating. But I didn't have time to investigate. The reason was caregiving for my MIL. Mike asked me to take care of her between work. Mom is waiting to get into a facility. Until we find a place, please look after her. Why me? Have you forgotten what she said to me? My MIL and I didn't get along well. Initially, we managed, but she was very meddlesome, often visiting our house. Since FIL passed away early, she was probably lonely. As a result, she and Emily often interacted. While they bonded, I had to cook and take care of them, losing my own time. The stressful life made me ask Mike to reduce her visits. When Mike conveyed this to her, our relationship soured. She began to berate me, saying I was ungrateful for her concern. How dare you treat me this way? You're repaying kindness with rudeness. From that moment, I knew it would be hard to have a good relationship with her and started avoiding her. After treating me so poorly, you now want me to care for her? Do you think I can do that happily? So you're going to abandon her? I'm at work from morning till night. I'm the main breadwinner here. If you're going to be so selfish and neglect her, then you should earn as much as I do. Then I'll quit my job and take care of her. I had no retort. Even with my freelance work, I barely earned $3,000 a month. Mike, on the other hand, made over $4,500. Catching up to his salary would be difficult at this rate. Besides, it's true that I have more time. Unable to find a retort, I reluctantly took on the care of my MIL. I was soon overwhelmed by the dual burden of work and caregiving. This life turned out to be a living hell. At this time, my MIL required physical care and had mild dementia. It was important to give her a heads up about anything, but she couldn't adapt to sudden changes, often throwing tantrums. She remembered the past well and would yell at me, demanding Emily instead. "I wish someone like Emily had married my son instead of you. You repay kindness with cruelty, yet you show your face here with no shame." Each time she said this, it left a deep scar on my heart. I felt hatred for my MIL many times. However, there were moments when she was grateful and tearfully apologized. She explained why she had visited our home so frequently. "Mike has always been a people pleaser. He seemed happy with you, but you couldn't have children, right? I was worried he might stray, so I kept an eye on things. I was happy when you married Mike, and I wanted to protect your happiness." I finally understood her words, "You don't know how I feel." Realizing she had been trying to prevent Mike from cheating and was concerned for me, I felt overwhelming regret for neglecting her kindness. After that, even when she mentioned Emily, I chose to endure out of guilt. But then tragedy struck. I got Emily pregnant. Divorce me. Mike had gotten Emily pregnant. Their relationship had indeed turned romantic. Surprisingly, I was calm, having anticipated this. "What do you mean?" "Just what I said. I got Emily pregnant. I need to acknowledge the baby and marry her. Otherwise, it would be unfair to Emily and the child." "Unfair?" Mike's words filled me with rage. He cared about Emily and the baby but not at all about me. Although I was his wife, he clearly saw me as an obstacle. It's sad for the child to grow up without a father. We don't have kids, so there's no issue with us divorcing, right? You earn enough to live alone, and our love is already dead. Laughing, Mike's words snapped my patience. I retrieved the divorce papers from the living room drawer. We had signed them during a huge fight early in our marriage but decided to keep them just in case. "Here are the divorce papers. I'm quitting caregiving." Seeing the papers, Mike smirked, likely thinking he could finally be happy with Emily and escape his misery. But life isn't that simple. When I said I was quitting caregiving, he frowned. "What? Keep caregiving?" My sudden demand revealed his panic. "Why should I? We're no longer married. I have no obligation to care for your mom. You owe it to her. Don't you plan to repay her kindness?" Mike's words, echoing those of my MIL without understanding their true meaning, deeply irritated me. "Don't talk as if you understand her feelings. You don't have a clue." "What did you say? If you had been more responsible, none of this would have happened. You cheated and behaved disgracefully, do you even realize that?" Annoyed by my blunt truth, Mike's voice grew louder. "It's your faulty body that couldn't have kids. You couldn't satisfy me as a woman, so it's your fault. You deserve to be cheated on. You didn't work on yourself." No matter what I said, Mike responded with absurd accusations. I sighed in exasperation at his ridiculous claims. "Since you couldn't satisfy me, the least you can do is continue caregiving. Emily and I both have jobs, and a child is on the way. We can't take care of my mom. Emily is your sister, isn't she? Don't you want to help her out?" "No, because Emily is." Mike tried to force caregiving on me. I decided to tell him the shocking truth. "She's not my real sister. She's a complete stranger. Why should I spend my precious time on her?" "What?" Mike was confused by my family history. My parents remarried, both bringing children into the marriage. So, Emily and I are not blood related. They divorced last month after her dad's affair was discovered. My mom moved out, and she asked me to live with her. Your timing for divorce was perfect. I knew about your affair and was planning to bring it up myself. The fact that Emily wasn't my sister was shocking enough, but realizing I knew about their affair stunned Mike. His dumbfounded expression almost made me laugh. By the way, Emily's father is incredibly demanding. He needs everything spotless and believes anyone who doesn't respect their elders is trash. He'd get furious if you ate before him. Living with them was suffocating. That's why I left for New York in high school, to get away from them. Mike's face paled as he listened to my story, realizing he was trapped by Emily's scheme. I couldn't help but laugh. Good for you, getting a divorce. You'll move in with Emily and her dad, right? I'm sure you'll have a happy future. How did you? He wondered how I knew about his plan to live with Emily and her father. The answer was simple. I had hired a private investigator with my savings to look into them. I found out they were planning to live together. Not knowing what Emily's father was like, Mike agreed to the arrangement to stay in Emily's good graces. But this decision was a huge mistake. Emily didn't want to live alone with her difficult father. Guess why? Oh, you can't. If you could think, you wouldn't have agreed to live with them. You? Infuriated by my taunt, Mike raised his fist. I pulled out my phone and pointed the camera at him. Go ahead, hit me. I'll take this evidence to the police. Then your remarriage to Emily won't happen, and what will her father say? The baby will have a criminal for a father. Imagine the bullying they'll face at school. Damn. Mike lacked the courage. Hearing about the police, he lowered his fist and glared at me. Poor Mike, let me give you more bad news. Emily's father is being divorced by my mom and owes a huge alimony. Plus, I'll be claiming alimony from you. You'll live in poverty. Having a baby in these conditions will be tough, even with your above-average salary. As I mocked his bleak future, Mike turned pale. He regretted his foolish decisions. I'll also be claiming alimony from Emily. What? He widened his eyes in shock. Of course. You didn't think only one of you would be responsible, did you? An unmarried woman took her husband from a married woman. Even if she was once family, there's no way I would show any mercy. It's truly puzzling how he could think that as long as he sacrificed himself, everything would be fine. After all the trouble Emily has caused me, I'm going to make sure she pays for it. You'll be taking care of your mom, Emily's father, and Emily herself. You'll also be paying off alimony for all three of them. It's a living hell. If I were you, I'd rather grovel and beg Emily to back off and stay with me. That would have been the smarter choice. Hearing this, Mike must have thought apologizing would make me help him. He rushed to my feet, nearly in tears, and started begging. Please, help me. I didn't think it would come to this. Regretting his foolishness, Mike tried to undo the divorce. But that wouldn't work on me. I lost any love for Mike long ago. Give up already. I can't stand the sight of you anymore. I'm so happy to finally be free from you. Thanks to your shameless behavior, I can claim even more alimony. I feel incredible relief and freedom. As I celebrated my newfound happiness, Mike grabbed my pant leg, pleading. Please reconsider. I'm facing a living hell. That's not my problem. I dismissed Mike with cold words. When I was suffering, you only thought of yourself and never considered my feelings. I'll never forget the resentment and hurt you caused. It will never be forgotten. Mike saw the determination in my eyes and stepped back in fear. What happens to you is none of my concern. You brought this on yourself. Don't come to me for help. Just talking to you makes me uncomfortable. I can't stand seeing your face or breathing the same air. If I could, I'd erase all memories of you. Get out of my house. The house is in my name. I gathered his belongings and threw them toward the door. I had bought this house right after I started working, with help from a realtor cousin who gave me a good deal. Mike, looking for a place to live, had no objections and moved in with me, leading to our marriage. Even though I'm begging you, what's with your attitude? This happened because you didn't take care of me. Angered by being thrown out, Mike raised his fist despite being filmed. Just then, the front door unlocked, and a detective and my mother came to my aid. "That's enough, Mike. Step away from Nancy." "MIL, and who are you?" The detective restrained Mike, who couldn't resist the larger man. My mother hugged me protectively, glaring at Mike. "I'm a detective hired by Nancy. We've been watching this scene through hidden cameras. This will be used as evidence." Hearing about the cameras, Mike paled. I had the detective set them up for solid proof. With witnesses and evidence, Mike's fate was sealed. "Your actions constitute assault. Leave now with your belongings. You have no chance of winning this." Hearing this, Mike stopped resisting. "Nancy, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please, give me one more chance." "Enough." Despite stopping his resistance, Mike still sought forgiveness. Tearfully, he asked for a second chance. But I delivered the final blow. "I never want to see you again. We signed the divorce papers. You wanted this divorce. You chose to leave me for pleasure. You chose to leave me for pleasure. It's you who wanted to abandon me. It's too late to regret now. I have no lingering feelings for you. Get out. My lawyer will contact you." For the first time, I spoke to Mike so harshly. Realizing he had no hope, Mike gathered his things and left. I was finally free from my long nightmare. Soon after, with the lawyer recommended by the detective, I filed the divorce papers. With overwhelming evidence and Mike's behavior during negotiations, I was awarded nearly $80,000 in alimony. "This is ridiculous. Why do I have to pay such an amount? We were family. How could you extort money from your sister?" When I went to discuss alimony with Emily, she was furious. Her father joined in blaming me. But I had my lawyer, who countered them with solid arguments. "You stole your sister's husband. Your actions broke a family. You must be held accountable." Emily couldn't argue with the lawyer's logic. I expressed my long-held resentment. "I'll never forgive you for what you've done to me. I'll squeeze every cent from you just like you did to me. Prepare yourself. This won't end with money." My cold tone and stare made Emily shiver in fear. I instructed my lawyer to pursue her thoroughly. Thanks to his efforts, Emily was ordered to pay $50,000. Emily and Mike ended up with nearly $200,000 in debt. My mother also claimed over $50,000 from Emily's father, plunging them into debt. But that wasn't all. We later discovered the child Emily was carrying wasn't Mike's. She had been seeing another man, Mike's colleague. Knowing Emily's infidelity, the colleague refused to acknowledge the child. When he heard about her remarriage to Mike, he exposed Emily's misdeeds at work. Both were fired and ostracized, divorcing a month after remarrying. Emily was bankrupted by Mike's alimony claim. They now work day labor jobs to pay off their debts. I now live with my mother. When I left him, I vowed to protect you, Nancy. My mother helped arrange the detective. Her support gave me the courage to face Mike and get divorced. I'll always be on your side. My mother has supported me ever since. After the divorce, I started an online business using my PC skills. I created a community for those who couldn't attend school, providing an online free school. We offered curriculums and essential PC skills for students. I suffered with no one to talk to. I don't want young people to go through that. This statement from a magazine interview drew attention, leading to TV interviews. My business succeeded, with many families expressing gratitude. Their words inspire me to continue creating safe spaces for those in need.